Good evening, Howard. How are you? Yeah, party started early, man. You know, I know we're get cranking up the tunes. She's gonna be in the background station on me. I guarantee that right now. She's gonna be in there saying to herself, "Yo, I can't deal with this guy." That's exactly what she said. Let me put you in my ear so I can hear everything that's going on for myself. Yeah, that's better. How do you like that, cutie? Okay, all right, easy. So how's everybody doing? Good evening, everyone. Hope everybody had a great week, and let me know if the audio is right, if the volume is good, if everybody can hear me. Um, Mr. McCook, what's going on? Remember to share the link so we can get some people in here and have a good conversation. Tonight, I think the topic tonight for me is one of the most important topics for small farmers and people who want to get in, who are planning on starting. So it's not the sexy conversation, it's not the gossip thing, it's not the, you know, the pasa pasa type conversation. This is like real serious people conversation. Um, and we're gonna lay out some things on the 5 year success plan. You know, you get when you're an entrepreneur, you're starting a business. I help people keep it real. So that's the plan. So yeah, let's share the link and invite some people. If you know anybody who wants to get in, who's thinking about it, who don't know where to start or how to start, let them invite them to come on and listen to this because I'm gonna break out uh, main topics on how to start, like the 5 year success plan or business plan. What are the topics? What are the things in there that you should have or think about? Put them down on paper. So yeah, that's my plan. That's what we're trying to do. All right. So let's see how many more people we can get in here before I jump into it. Hanif, how's it going? Anybody else that's here we haven't shout out yet, just drop your name, say hello so we can give you a shout out. You know? Um Squeaky here. I don't know how that's pronounced, but I'll just call you Squeaky. I don't know who else is here. And what is it? Heroes Weekend, right? Is that what's going on? Yeah. So it's a long weekend. Will Ray Wood Farm, welcome back, bro. Man is a regular. Vance Michael, welcome. Thanks for being here. Um, long weekend. Also, Howard said that was Heroes Week was last weekend for him. Neil Shan, welcome, Mr. Shan. What's going on? Hope all is well. I don't know. My mom just messaged me asking me if there's no iGo chat tonight. Like, where is she? She she don't realize we're on. Okay, all right. Let me get into this. Um, doesn't matter if we have 5 people or 50 people. Let's get into it. So basically, as you can see, the topic is a 5-year success plan. Um, the reason I want to get into this is because always a conversation about people getting into specifically this kind of business. Hold on, this thing is bugging me. Okay, I have to keep it in, or else it's gonna bug me. Feel like I'm at some other job. There we go. Um, People, especially in farming and goat business, people want to get in, and then they really don't lay out a real plan. Like they listen to what people tell them, or they basically watch and see what's going on, whether they watch the price of goat or they watch the price of goat meat, or they go on YouTube or Facebook and see people posting goats and people talking about how exciting it is, and all of a sudden they want it. It's a good idea. Them can get into goat business. A man tell them, yeah man, you buy a goat for 40,000, 50,000. To have 2 kids, you can sell one of them kids there for 60,000, and it's endless. However, the people who don't have a real plan is the same people who are out after 2, 3 years. And the reason they're out is because they really didn't have a solid plan, and they don't understand what it means to plan accordingly. It's like a hustle thing. So they're in, and after they realize, oh, it's way more intense and we're more involved, then they're out after 2 years or 3 years. Um, if you talk to real business people, entrepreneurs, they'll tell you that you start a business, it's a 5-year plan. In order for you to see real success and start reaping the benefits from it, it's really a minimum 5-year plan. So you have to keep that in mind when you're starting a business. I'm not saying you can't maybe pay your bills or, you know, take dividends from the business to do certain things, but in order for the business to really start sustaining itself and sustain you, they will tell you you should have a 5-year plan, right? So I'm gonna go over um, some things you should have in your business plan or 5-year success plan. Um, I made some notes here, and I'm just gonna go through them and discuss them. Right. The number one thing is what we call an executive summary, and the executive summary is basically it's a summarization of what's in the business plan, the different topics, the different areas of the business plan. So you do a executive summary and say these are the important things for your business plan, right? And the next thing is you start listing these things, right? And so number one is a mission statement. And I think a few weeks ago we talked about why you want to do, get into goat business, like why people want to go. You got to know your why, right? So the mission statement is like a broad stroke of what your goals are, what your vision is for the business, how you want the business to impact your community. What's the long-term goal? What's important to you in the business, and how important it is for your business to affect your surroundings, the people you care for, the people you love, the people, your workers. Like, what is important to you? That is the mission statement. And, you know, people will ask the question of why is a mission statement that important? Because you have to have a reason to do this. You have to have an understanding or a clear vision of how it's going to affect your community, the people you work with. What is the major objective? Do you want to make a big change in the sector, or do you want to uplift your community? What exactly you want outside of collecting money from the business? How do you envision the business being successful? Because if you're paying attention, you know that in order to have a successful business, that business has to be impacting people's lives in some way, shape, or other. It has to be impacting people's lives. It has to have a positive impact on people's lives, right? So you have to have the goals, the vision, what's important to you, a moral compass. That's what the mission statement is, right? And I'm telling you guys that right now, if you know somebody who needs this information, invite them to come on now, because I'm going to get into this real deep so people understand why these things are important. The mission statement is of great importance when you're starting a business and doing your business plan. It's a guide. It's like you write it down, you put it down on paper, you can read it to people, you can tell somebody why you're doing this, why is this important to you, how do you want this business to impact your surroundings, impact the people around you, impact your community. It's written and you can read it, and then you can revise it if it doesn't sound good to you, or if your thing change, you can revise it, you know. But if it's when it's on paper, you see it, it's in black and white. So that's a detailed mission statement, broad goals and visions, and the importance of this business, right? The next thing is what they call a SWOT. SWOT. It's an acronym. It's for strength, weakness, opportunity, and threats. So when you're doing your business plan, you're trying to figure out how you're gonna get this business off the ground. Number one thing you got to think about: what strengths do you bring to the business? What are your strengths? What are the strengths that you have, or whether you can contribute to the business in order to get this goal, right? If you're, for example, if you're an electrician and you say, "Yeah, I'm tired of going and doing installations and all that stuff. I want to start a store that sells electrical equipment." Your strength is knowing these equipment, knowing these parts, knowing what everything does. You may not be, you know, an expert at the the uh the box that they put in the wall, but you know what the box does, and you know the different size of box, and you know all that stuff. You have a general knowledge because you're an electrician, so you can go shop for things that you know electricians want. That is your strength. That is the strength you bring to the business. So you can have a wide array of products because you're familiar with them and you know the needs of electricians, right? So that's what we're talking about, what strength you bring to the business, right? It doesn't, and even if you're starting an electrician supply store, or you're not an electrician, maybe your strength is customer service. Maybe you know how to communicate with people. So you can bring electrician in or somebody who's very familiar with electrical work, and they can be your expert, but you are the one at the front talking of people, making people feel comfortable, asking them if they're getting help. Maybe that's your strength. And then your partner can be the one who's the electrical specialist, but he's not a people person. So you know he doesn't really want to be talking to people, but he'll be in the back making sure everything, all the inventory is in place, doing the shopping for the store, doing all that stuff. So you got to figure out what your strengths are. You know what I mean? My strength in Cabo Ranch is to execute truly crazy ideas. That's my strength, right? I think so. She may not agree, but that's my strength. She's the one who goes around and smile up with people and be friendly with people, and everybody love her. But they sure they come and they trying to do me. They're like, "Yo, he's frowning. What's wrong with him?" Nothing's wrong with him. He's frowning. Oh, maybe he went back there and there's no grass in the trough, so he's upset. you know, but that's I can tell you that is my strength. That's my strength is to make sure certain things are executed and I get real miserable about it. But anyways, let's move on. So then that's the S part of SWOT. The W is the weakness, right? Figure out what your weakness is. As I just said, my weakness is the customer service part of being happy and friendly with people all the time. Trudy can turn it on and go out and be all smiles and everything, and then I'm the one like, man, I can't deal with these people right now. But you have to figure out what your weakness is. So as I said, like the electrical store guy, the guy who understands all the electrical stuff, he knows his weakness is dealing with people. He doesn't have the patience for somebody to come in and say, yo, you know the thing with them put on the wall and then you know a little something to start with and the wire got in it, and that guy who's the electrician don't have the patience for going through that with somebody who doesn't know. But his partner may be like, explain to me, he has the patience, he'll talk through it, whatever, then he gets an idea what they're talking about. But then the expert may not have that patience. You don't want to deal with it. So then you got to figure out, as I said, what your weakness is. Identify your weakness so you can improve on it or find somebody who can fill into that part. You know what I mean? So the strengths and the weakness, right? Next thing, the O in the SWOT is opportunity. Identifying opportunities in your area of business that you can take advantage of. For example, in the goat business, there's different opportunities people can take advantage of, right? So let's say you're looking to purchase animals, right? And I can tell you if you do your research, there's certain times of the year when kids are on the ground, like the fall, in the fall, like September, October, lots of kids. In early spring, there's lots of kids around. If you're looking for a specific animal, that period of time is an opportunity for you to get what you want because you can actually talk to a breeder in advance and secure your animal instead of waiting until all these animals are on the ground, and then you can actually talk to a Maki, talk to Dr. Graham or whatever in advance and say, I would like to secure a certain buck or a certain female. You got to be able to identify opportunities. Another thing's coming up now is like the importation of animals. It's a great opportunity in the sector right now because we are seeing where things seem to be getting streamlined in the process. There seems to be standardizing the application process, the processing of applications seems to be moving in the right direction. That is a great opportunity that you have to identify you can take advantage of. either by pooling your resources or getting ahead of the curve and putting in your application and be patient about it. That is an opportunity. So you have to identify opportunities in your sector that you can take advantage of. There is a few weeks ago, the Jamaica Development Bank was circulating um, the opportunity to apply and get a small loan or grant. That's another opportunity that you have to be able to identify that you can take advantage of. So identifying opportunities within your sector is another one. Then the last one is threats. What are the threats to your business? We all know in goat business, the biggest threat is perennial larceny, right? Perennial larceny is the biggest threat. How do you combat perennial larceny? Another one is feed security, right? How do you do something that will help you be successful and lessen the threat to your business? You know, in perennial larceny is come up with a security system that will deter people from stealing your animals, right? In the feed security, have a feeding plan or land or whatever you got to do, acquire enough land to have your own grass or a feeding a feeding program that is kind of independent of outside sources. You know, those are the things you got to think about. We all know, we see it every day. People start goat farm and then they're running around trying to find grass, trying to find hay, trying to find all that stuff to feed their animals. But they went into the business and they didn't figure out how they're gonna feed their animals. Nobody thought about I say nobody. These Some of these people didn't think about, oh, how am I gonna feed them? Do I have enough grass access? Do have access to enough grass? Do I have a relationship with the guy who sell hay so he's gonna treat me like priority? When he has hay, I'm gonna be one of the first person he calls. Am I gonna build a relationship with that guy? Am I gonna build a relationship with the feed company so I will get notified if there's gonna be a shortage on feed? Am I gonna get a heads up so I can stockpile? You know, so I can tell. I said this before all the time. The first person we spoke to before we got in was Khalil Brown. Why? How am I gonna feed them? How are we gonna feed these animals? What do we need to have access to feed these animals? Have a conversation with Khalil. Got a bunch of information. I share the information with you, like all the different grass and shrubs and legumes and trees that can be fed to goats. I shared that whole list with you guys before. Got it. Went over it. Figure out what was accessible to us in our area. Quick stick is accessible to us big time in our area. Guinea grass. We don't have bread nut in our area, so we can't really talk about that and try to get that. We have to figure out, okay, what is accessible to us? What do we have around us that we can utilize? How much grass do we really need? Hence, we have the farm we have on where it is. We had to find somewhere that we can actually feed the animals on a daily basis without stress. We don't have to worry about, man, we have to go drive 2, 3 miles to go find grass. So you have to, figure out what are the things that could be a threat to your business. Right across the board in Jamaica, theft seems to be a big threat to any business. You know, another threat is labor. You know, getting the right people, getting dependable people. You know, that's a big threat, and it's right across the board. But it's in livestock farming, it's even way more dangerous because if somebody think they can just walk off your farm and leave you, then it's on you to figure out how these animals are gonna get fed. And if you're not there, you're in problems, you know. So yeah, so that's SWOT. It's SWOT: strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat to your business. All right. The next one is write down your goals. Write down the goals for your business in details. What are your goals? What you want to do? Yearly goals, quarterly goals, whatever it is. Write it down. Review it and be real. Keep it real. No pipe dreams and no ideology that cannot be attained. None of that stuff. Keep it real. In fact, you should do it on the low end, so then you feel good when you blow it out the water. You get motivated. Don't go all the way up here, and then when you can't get there, you get disappointed. That's happened to us. You know what I mean? You're like, oh man, like, geez, we suck. But we set our goals way too high and not even understanding the people we're dealing with and how the people we're dealing with affect the outcome of what we're trying to do. So you have to set realistic goals, put them down on paper, and move on from there. Assess it, see if it actually is feasible with what you're dealing with, you know, especially if you have a location in mind already, because if you set out certain goals and the location you have in mind cannot accommodate those goals, then you got to shift something. Either you shift the location or you shift your goals, right? I don't know how many people in here have actually written down their success plan or their business plan for their operation. Give me a thumbs up if you actually did one. I guess nobody has actually written a business plan. Interesting. Truly, did we do a business plan? Give me a fire emoji. I give it. Yes, we did. Yes, we did. Yeah, Howard, give a thumbs up. He did. Yeah, it's important. It's important to see these things in writing and the ability to go back to it. If you can go back to it, even let's say a month later after you do it, and then realize, oh, I want to adjust this, I want to change this, or when you're talking to somebody, you know what you're talking about because it's in black and white. Yeah. See, Howard says he is listening to us. I go chat and help at least one person there. He listened to us and he has made changes based on what we've discussed here. That's the plan. That's the idea. This is why we do what we do, to help people, help people understand in any little way. So it's like Howard says, he went back and changed some things about his plan based on what we have shared here, what we have discussed here as a group. Yeah, so write down your goals. Another one, the next one is a business metrics. So this one now is it's a little more out of the norm. It's like another level up that I'm not I'm not recommending that people should do it, but people should understand what it is. A business metrics really is how your business is performing, creating a system to figure out how you're gonna assess the performance of the business. So is that in record keeping, proper financial recordings, accounting, whatever it is, you got to put a system in place. So then you can look at it quarterly, yearly, whatever is your comfort, so you can assess how healthy is the business, how well is the business performing. We do it all the time and get, sometimes we get excited, sometimes we get depressed because sometimes it looks good and sometimes we're like, oh man, whose idea was this? you know and yeah, it's a roller coaster ride. But as the topic says tonight, it's a 5-year plan. So we have to ride the waves. It's sometimes it's gonna go way down, sometimes we're gonna be high on all these whole heap of kids on the ground. We got goats giving us a lot of milk, and then the next time we look around, we're like, yo, what's going on? Why is yeah, yeah, I don't want to get carried away into none of that. But yeah, like you have to have a system that allows you to assess and evaluate how the business is performing. I would suggest a quarterly um, evaluation or a yearly evaluation. Like early out, I think a yearly evaluation is a better way to do it. So you don't get your mind don't get into all that stuff. You can focus on building it and dealing with the different things that you need to deal with within the business instead of focusing on, oh, we didn't do that well in the last 3 months or whatever. You just like, okay, yearly we're gonna assess this. We're just gonna execute what we need to execute, and at the end of the year, we assess how we did. Right. So that's the business metrics. The next thing you got to do, and some of these things do not have to be in that order. I'm just going down the things that are really important in your business plan. Next thing is a target market, right? You got to know, getting into this business, know what your target market is. So if you're into goat business, there is ideally like three major areas in the goat business right now. There is the genetics that 99% of the people them say they're in. There's meat that the same 99% people say they're in. And then there's the value added from milk, and I guess you could do value added from meat too, but yeah, milk, dairy, right? You got to figure out what your target market is and how do you produce product to satisfy that market. I will be very clear. If you're in meat, meat is a numbers game, a high numbers game, because you have to have constant supply of meat. Now, how you get constant supply of meat when goat takes 6 months to get to market? That means you have to come up with a production system that's producing these animals, and you can either you're processing animals per month or per week or whatever it is. You got to know your market. You got to understand what it takes to supply that market. Know the inside out, the trend of the market, what people are into. If you're in a meat market, are people more into curry goat style meat, or are they into the Manish Water kit? Are they into choice cut? Or what I mean? Like, you got to figure it out and figure out where the higher profit margin is. Is it in just processing a goat, chop up the meat and say it as curry goat, curry meat, curry goat, curry cuts or whatever it is, or is there a higher profit margin if you do choice cuts for a hotel, a boutique hotel, or a nice restaurant, or a high-end client that's doing a party or something? You got to figure it out. Know your target market, right? If you're into milk, Then you have to figure out, okay, what sells better in this market? What people gravitate to? Is it the milk to drink? Is it the yogurt? Is it the cheese? What kind of cheese it is? Who's buying it? How much they make a year or a month so they can afford to buy it and how much they're buying. And you got to know the market. Figure out how these people are buying your product or buying the product you're interested in selling. Know your competition in the marketplace. Who else is doing it? What makes them successful? Are they successful? You got to know the target market, right? And as I said, another part of it, of knowing the market, then is analyzing the whole sector. That's the next one. Do an industry analysis. Analyze the whole industry you're trying to get into or that you're already into. And that's one of the things that we did. And goat business was like everything was top secret. A lot of it is still top secret. There's a few people that's trying to break that mold. Like, I go chat. We're trying to share as much as we can share. But when we were getting in, we had to develop relationships and get people to share with us. Go to Jamaica, visit these people, talk to these people, have regular conversation with them on how they do things. But to be honest, like the best practices and stuff, nobody wanted to share that stuff. They want you to come in. They tell you to come in because they either want to sell you what or sell you something. But the best practices, they're not telling you. They weren't at that time anyways. You have to find somebody who really is willing to tell you one or two things and help you. They're not telling you in advance. You might wait till it happened, till I go sick and I dead. And you call and say, boy, this is going on before a man said to you, oh yeah, that's abscess. You need XYZ. Nobody's gonna tell you in advance, say, yo, there's a list of things you should look out for once you start. Goat's gonna get diarrhea. Goat's gonna have worm. There's a thing called abscess. No. You have to go find that information on your own. You have to analyze the industry that you're getting into. Know the ins and outs. Understand what it takes, what's going on within it, the dynamics, the politics within it. Who's pulling the strings? Who's in control of certain things? Who has access to information and resources? Who are the gatekeepers? Yeah, see, Howard says like one of the things I help him is I go chat, give him access and a link to people that's actually farming in Jamaica. Yeah, that's the benefit. And we're trying to do our little part of, as usual, share this information. So yeah, so you have to do an industry analysis. Figure out how your industry work that you want to get into. Figure out how it works, right? How can you uh, have access to information, have access to resources, right? And then the next one is develop a marketing plan. How people are gonna know that you exist and what you're selling. You have to have a marketing plan. You have to have a plan to get the word out, to promote your operation, promote the products you're selling. A marketing plan. If you're not good at marketing plan, then we're in 2022. There's lots of people that are willing to do it for a small fee. There's lots of resources online that can help you draft up, come up with a marketing plan for whatever reason or whatever business you're in. Somebody out there is willing to do it for an affordable fee or for free, or you can learn to do it for you by yourself. You know. Then the next thing is have a team. Create a team that you're gonna work closely with, right? Whether it's a partner that's in it with you and somebody you're gonna employ in the business as a worker or an assistant or a manager or whatever. Create your team. Creating your team of people that you know have the same vision, same moral compass, understand what you're trying to do. You gotta have that team. You have to have like-minded people that's gonna actually move with you in one accord. I'm not saying they can be, you know, discussions and difference in opinion, but they should all be looking in the same direction, trying to move in the same direction so you can get where you need to get to, meet the objectives, meet your goals all together. So you have to have a good team. You have to have the ability to put a good team together, right? All right. And the last one, these are 10 things. The last one is financial projections. Remember, this is 5 years, 5 year plan. So, a financial projection, you have to keep it real with yourself because if you don't keep it real with yourself, you're going to be in trouble because starting something off the ground and building it up, there's a reason they said you have to think about the 5 year plan. So, financial projections means you know you're starting in the hole, right? After the first year, second year, third year, how much of the hole you're gonna fill in? Are you able to make up that whole deficit? And now the business is on its own, maintaining itself, making enough revenue to maintain itself, or are you still putting in a little bit to maintain it, right? If you can as get to that point after 3 years where it's maintaining itself, you're doing amazing, right? But you have to be realistic and remember that it's a 5 year plan, right? So the whole idea with doing a financial projections is okay. So the first year, let's say revenue may be $100,000, right? You're gonna say, oh, I want to improve on that by 30%, 40% year after year to get to a break even point, I'd say after 3 years, right? You got to be realistic. Can you actually do 40% increase year after year on your revenue? Or a more realistic projection is 20%, 30%. You have to be realistic based on the climate of the business you're dealing with in your sector. Look at all these things. Like over the last 2.5 years, our projections got shot because COVID, the price of feed doubled. So everything, all our projections just went out to the window because the increase in cost eat away all of that. You know what I mean? The increase in input eat away all of that. So you have to keep it real and have the ability to make changes and assess things as you go along. Before COVID started, we were paying $1,300 a bag for feed when COVID started, 2020. Right now it's 2,300 a bag. Right, Judy? 2,400 a bag. Ridiculous. Almost double the cost for feed. Yeah, 24.30, Peter says. Think about that. Think about that, really, in 2 years. So if all's even, all's equal, you're not increasing the number of products you're putting out there, then your projections or whatever little profit you're projecting over that time get eaten away by the increase in the cost of feed. Everything, the cost of uh, fuel went up. So you have to think about all these things when you're doing your business plan. Remember, it's a 5-year business plan. So let me recap. I know there's some people that came in late. Tonight, we're discussing the 5-year success plan and creating a business plan for that. The first thing you should do when you think about starting a business is do an executive summary. So write a summary of all the different things you're going to have in your business plan. So all the things we just talked about, you know what I mean, mission statement, SWOT, your goals, put all that in your summary and say these are the things that's going to be in the business plan. Now the first thing we talked about that you should go in details about in the business plan is your mission statement, right? And for the people who came in late, mission statement is a broad um, description of your goals, your vision, the way what's important to you in the business, how you want the business to impact your community, how you want what your moral compass is for you and the business. That's basically what your mission statement is. So when somebody asks you what is your business about, that's what you tell them. That's what you show it to them. You have to, it has to be very clear, very detailed. Then the next thing we discussed was SWOT, SWOT, which stands for, is an acronym for strength, weakness, opportunity, and threats, right? So you got to identify the strength that you bring to the business. Then you have to identify what your weakness is so you can improve on it or find somebody to fill in that weakness. Next thing is identifying opportunities within the sector, within your industry that you can take advantage of, and identifying the threats, right? So we went over some of the opportunities that we can take advantage of, whether it's, you know, a relationship with feed companies, the AI programs, you know, importation of animals, etc. And then the threats, we know the number one threat is Purdial larceny. The next one may be feed security. So identifying these and figure out a way to mitigate them, right? Find a way to lessen the impact of these threats, right? The next thing is your goals. What are your goals for the business? Have detail, write those things down in details. And then we talk about business metrics, having a system that evaluates how healthy the business is, how well the business is performing. And you can do this assessment on a quarterly basis, a yearly basis, whatever. But you have to have records and a system in place, whether it's recording sales, revenue, accounting, whatever it is, you make sure you record and have a way to assess it, the data that you collect, right? That's a business metrics. Understanding your target market is the next one. So you assess, scrutinize, study, research your market, the people that you're going to be selling product to. How do they buy the product? What kind of product they buy? What do they like? What time of day do they buy it, or what time of the month do they buy it? You know, is does the numbers go up at the end of the month? You know what I mean? Does the numbers double around the long weekend period? All those things. Figure out how your target market is buying the products you want to sell, right? And then the next one is industry analysis. Industry analysis is assessing the sector, the industry. Who are the gatekeepers? What resources are available? All that stuff. How does the players in the industry operate? You know, all that stuff. Assess it. See who are the who pull the strings. All that. Assess the business. Assess the industry. Figuring it out. You know, like in goat business, we got two major feed company. Who are the reps? Who are the people them that you can build relationship with when it comes to these companies? You know, JDDB, Jamaica Development Dairy Board. Those are there's a major player, right? Forge relationship with these people, understanding how they work, who pull the triggers, right? And then a marketing plan. Come up with a plan to sell your product, to create awareness in the marketplace for your product or your business. So you should be able to find somebody. If you don't know how to do a marketing plan, find somebody who can do it, you know. And now it's not that hard to market yourself because of all the various platforms, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. There's a lot of them. And there's a lot of YouTube tutorials that gives you the basic on how to do social media marketing. So you can learn this stuff on your own, right? And then the next one is building a team, creating a team that is going to help you execute the task at hand, execute your business, you know, create a strong team, people that believe in the vision, understand the vision, willing to move in one accord to achieve the objective that's laid out. And the last one is financial projection. And as I said, keep it real with your projections. Just be mindful that you can have these grandiose ideas of how you're going to grow the business tenfold or whatever in short order. And it doesn't happen and then it deflates everything, right? So keep it real. That's it. Anybody have any questions? Let's dig into questions, or if I'm missing anything, let me know and we can discuss it. I always say farmers need to remember that revenue is not profit. Okay, let me dig into that. There is this common thing in Jamaica that I find. I don't know if anybody else find that. Like a lot of these people, let's say it's 3 months, 4 months after kidding season, and them have 20 kids on the ground. Them sell off those 20 kids so they make a nice little change. And they think that they're making money. But the process of subtracting the cost of input, cost of labor, and all that stuff out of that money don't really register with them. And it's not just good farmers. The man them with plant things do the same thing. They make a money. Yeah, man, sell off, make a money. But they don't really understand that they have to subtract what? The cost of getting that product to market. You have to subtract that cost. The labor, the input cost of inputs, whether it's fertilizer or whether it's grain cost and all that. So that's a whole nother topic we have to talk about, how these farmers have to understand the accounting, the financial um, status or analysis of their business. How do you figure out what is profit versus what is just straight revenue? Yeah. So Howard, thanks for that. That's a big one. Any other questions or comments? Um, I guess did I do such a good job that nobody have any questions? I am pretty sure I'm not that good. I am sure I'm not that good. Um, Mr. Awad Magnificent says farmers need help in accounting, record keeping, and farm management. Yeah, I think was it a year ago, 2 years ago, truly we did. I go chat on that when we had Kenneth on, right? So I think it may be time for us to do an update on it, right? Update on accounting, record keeping, and farm management. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's time we do an update on that. Yeah. I don't know what is Peter talking about. My glass don't look like juice. It looks like apple juice to me. I don't know. Like, doesn't it look like apple juice? Trudy? Yeah, yeah, that's apple juice. It looks like apple juice. Um, yes, so I think we need to do an update on farm management and accounting, and because I think now there's more people involved, and I wouldn't say I don't want to say there were younger people, but people who are more thinking, oh, if I'm doing this, it's gonna be a real business. Appetite juice. um, Howard, I don't know what you're talking about, man. Yeah, juice. That's a good one. That's a good one, Howard. That's a good one. Um, yeah, we should try to do an update on that. Um, Garth says a lot of farmers approach raising animals as a partner, and when they sell the animals, the money they get is the draw. I've never. That's the first ever hear that one, and you have a point because it's the same thing we're talking about the mecca money. It's the same idea for partner draw thing where they put all this money in, they get it in a lump sum, and they think they're in the bag. They think they collect the bag and realize it's their money. They don't realize, it's their money that sit there for somebody with somebody else and didn't grow any interest and didn't do anything. Somebody just keep that money for them because they're not disciplined enough to keep it. So they give to somebody else to keep, and then they get it in a lump sum and then think, oh, it's all good. Nah, it's just lack of discipline. Um, okay, any other comment or question? If there is none, then we can call it a night, right? I think so. What do you say, folks? If you agree, give me a thumbs up. If there's no other questions, then we can call it a night. Thanks, Valerie. Thank you. We try to bring value to people You know, there you go. Connor says Rada sells the goat record keeping books. Yep. I don't know if they sell it. I think they give it away though, or they sell it. I don't know. But it's you don't even have to have those books to do basic record keeping. I know it's convenient, but if you can't get to a Rada place, you can write that down, or you can create an Excel sheet. Or we're talking about we're in 2022, so I'm gonna talk like everybody in this space right now understand what an Excel sheet is. And if you don't, you have access to know about it from your phone, whether it's via Google or YouTube. So I'm not taking no excuse from no man no more. Say, oh, I don't know what that is. Yeah, if you can watch those idiot videos on YouTube where people are beat up people and a cuss and all them things, then you can watch a tutorial on Excel, basic Excel sheet. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not taking no more conversation from no man. I say, oh, me don't know all that going on, boss. Me don't know what that is. Yeah. If you can watch those videos all the time, watch Bada Clash. What do you call everybody name? Bada Cat and all these people and mad Natty the madman and the peanut man and anything. That you can watch all those things. That you can watch some tutorials on YouTube to better yourself and learn how to make more money out of your business. So yeah, um, I guess uh, QuickBook is more advanced. It's more for real bookkeeping, more advanced people. But some people who are familiar with QuickBook knows that you have to be generating quite a bit of revenue in order to justify using QuickBooks because it's not cheap. QuickBooks is not cheap. Um, Thank you, Howard. Thanks, man. Appreciate you guys coming also and hanging out with us. So yeah, with that said, we will call it a night. And thank you all for being here. And for the people who celebrating a long weekend in Jamaica, be safe out there. You know, if you're at Touch Road tonight, be safe. You know, drive safe, party safe, drink responsibly, and we'll see you guys next week, hopefully. So have a great night. We'll see